example number 2 says, if the cafeteria serves 3.6 times 10 to the 4th pounds of hamburger meat per month, convert this to kilograms per year. So I'm going to say this one in pink. Kilograms per year is what we're looking for. So when I'm done converting this value, my final answer will be something kilograms per year. This one is different than all of the questions we've done before because instead of having just a normal single unit, we have something per something. So it's kind of like we have 2 units. So it's going to be basically a mass over a time value. So what we're looking for, and that's why I highlighted both of these, is that it's a mass or a weight over a time value. So that whole thing is my given information. So I'm going to start over here with 3.6 times 10 to the 4th power pounds per 1 month. So if it says per month, again, remember that that is implied that it's per 1 month. And then I'll draw my line. So it looks different because normally we're starting with just a single given, but this given has 2 different units with it. So I need to convert pounds per month to kilograms per year. If I have pounds up here, pounds is going to end up converting to kilograms because it's talking about the same kind of thing. Pounds or kilograms is both talking about mass or weight, versus month or year is talking about a time frame. So pounds is going to come to the bottom just like every time we do this and we're discoing down our units. And then I have our conversion factors chart down here. So some of you may know how many pounds are in a kilogram, but if you don't know that, you need to use conversion factors that are actually available to you. So for the sake of this example, let's use the conversion factors that are in the chart, even if you know pounds to kilograms off the top of your head. So if I'm looking at this, I'm looking for anything that has to do with pounds or kilograms. So this one, pounds to ounces. This one, I don't see any in that one. I have pounds to grams, and I know that I have grams to kilograms. So I could use that. Just looking to see if there's anything better. And it looks like those are our only 2 options in here. For ounces, that's not going to get us anywhere closer unless we have another conversion that's going to help us out. We could do ounces to grams if we really wanted to. And then grams to kilograms. So I think this one will be faster. So let's do pounds to grams. And we're just pulling that conversion factor straight from the chart. So the whole point of this is that you plug it into your T-chart. You don't have to do any math before you write it down. So I know that 1 pound is equivalent to 453.6 grams. So all I did was pull that number and put it directly into my chart. And then I already had a plan for myself. Okay, I can go from grams to kilograms, so I'm going to bring grams to the bottom. Remember, we disco down just that unit. And I can convert grams to kilograms using the conversion factor that we've already memorized. Which one is bigger, a kilogram or a gram? Which one? Kilogram. Okay, so a kilogram is bigger. Put a 1 next to it. How many grams are in a kilogram? 1,000. So then the way I have it set up, I know that pounds is going to cancel with pounds, grams is going to cancel with grams, and I have kilograms, which is what I'm looking for. So the whole point of discoing down your units is so that you have the same thing on top as you have on bottom, and it will cancel out. But once you have what you're looking for, don't continue to disco it, because then it will cancel, and then you have to start all over again. So I'm going to leave kilograms there. I'm not going to disco it down. Instead, I'm going to start focusing on the other piece of this, which is the month portion. I don't want to end in months, so I'm going to want that to cancel out. Since month is on the bottom, I'm basically doing like a reverse disco situation where I'm pulling month up to the top so that it will eventually cancel out. Since I have the same thing on bottom as I have on top. So this is different than anything that we have practiced with so far. And then we're trying to get months to years. Do we have a conversion factor either in our chart or that you know off the top of your head that's like a common one to get from months to years? Basically, can you convert directly there, or do we need to go to something intermediate beforehand? Can you go directly from months to years? Yes. Okay, so what is that conversion factor? What'd you say? 1 year is 12 months. Perfect. So if we're using conversion factors like that, they need to be things that, like, I guess we'll call common knowledge. Most people at this point in their lives know that there are 12 months in a year. And then we've effectively gotten our units to where we want them to be. We've only canceled out the things that we don't need, and my units that I'm left with are already in kilograms and years, which is what I want to end in. So that means that all there's left to do is go through and calculate this. And because we're in scientific notation here, this is where it gets a little bit tricky on your calculator. So I'm going to show you two different ways for the two different calculators I have available in class. They look really similar to one another, and it is the same process. It's just that there's one extra button on this type. So if you have the calculator that has the little solar screen right here, and you look at the button above the 7, so this is kind of where you can tell the steps. The button directly above your 7 either says EE on the button itself, or it will say EE like printed on the calculator. This one has it on the button itself. So I'm going to do this one first, and then I'll show you the other one. So I'm doing the one that actually has the EE button. If you have this one and you want to follow along, you have to press second first, and then that button to get the EE on the screen. But I'll show that in a second. So when you type this in, let's get it up more. You're going to type, so as a reminder before we get started, multiply every time you cross the vertical line on top, and then on bottom you're going to divide and divide and divide. If you have ones, you don't need to actually type them in because it's not going to change your answer whether you multiply or divide by ones. So I generally just skip over them, but if that bothers you, I can type it in, I don't care. So 3.6 is what I'm typing first. And then you do not type the multiply sign. So instead of typing times 10 to the power of something, you're going to type the EE button. So do not type times 10 and then a caret button. You're not going to hit the multiply sign at all. You're going to type EE. So 3.6, and then I just hit EE, and then it pulls up this little 00 thing on this calculator, and you press the 4. Then we're going to multiply that by 453.6, and then we multiply that technically by 1, and then we multiply that by 12. Then we'll divide by 1, and divide by 1, and divide by 1,000. And then divide by 1 one last time, just in case it freaks you out to skip it. And this is the number that I got. So 19595.2. So I'll show it again on the other calculator. It's the exact same process, but you have to press the second button just to activate the yellow function on that calculator, so the EE there. So when you type on this calculator, it's going to be 3.6. Do not press the multiply sign. You'll type second EE, and then it puts a little E on the screen instead of doing the 00 thing that the other calculator did, and then you'll press 4, and then you multiply by 453.6, then multiply by 1, then multiply by 12. Then again, when you go to the bottom, I forgot to put the divided by sign there. You divide by 1, divide by 1, divide by 1,000, and then divide by 1. Then when you hit enter, you get the exact same number. If you type this in on your calculator and your calculator does not have this number, or it says syntax error, or it just says error, that means that you typed something incorrectly. If you get basically the same digits, but your decimal is in a different place, you typed it in incorrectly. So when we're recording our answer for that number, you need to match the same number of significant figures as you started with, which in this case is 2 significant figures. So my answer needs to have 2 significant figures. If I'm looking at this number 1959, whatever, the first 2 digits are 1 and 9, so I'm looking at the third digit to see if it rounds the second digit up, and it does, so I need to round up, which would turn this into 20, and then 0, 0, 0, 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 1, right? But that number doesn't have 2 significant figures. So to express that number with 2 significant figures, we can put this number into scientific notation. So 2.0 times 10 to the power of however many times we had to move the decimal to get it from the end to that point where we put it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this specific example, it's extra tricky because you had to use scientific notation to use the correct number of significant figures, and you had to type into your calculator in scientific notation as well.